All right, the court is going to call 2021 CR 4470, State of Texas versus Richard Thomas. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ruben Herrera for the state.
Defense?
Dr. Baez on behalf of the defendant.
And are you Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
All right, so counsel, you had sought to introduce into evidence defense exhibits 2, 3, 4, 5, and I believe defense exhibit number 14, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And also defense exhibits number 12 and 13.
That is also correct, Your
All right. And the court had a 412 hearing, and today the court was going to hear argument for both parties on whether or not the court should allow those exhibits introduced into evidence, correct?
That's correct. That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. And we did have a hearing, and that hearing was in camera under seal. So Mr. Baez, are you informing the court that you are withdrawing those exhibits and not seeking to introduce them?
Your Honor, that is correct. After doing some research last night and going through the exhibits again, and I was trying to hold for the exceptions to the 412, 609, modus, so on and so forth. And I don't believe I'm gonna be able to get there, not at this time. So as a result, Your Honor, we're gonna withdraw all those exhibits if we are allowed.
Okay, so the defense is seeking to withdraw defense exhibits 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 13, and 14. Any objections from the state?
No objections from the state.
All right. And then counsel, if you believe that at some point in time, those are relevant and you're able to introduce them, that will still need to be done outside the presence of the jury. And of course, the court will hear whatever argument parties has.
That will only happen, Your Honors, as we see it if the exception arises. But as of right now, we cannot.
All right. And then with regards to defense exhibits 8, 9, and 10, we were missing those.
Your Honor, I found them. The court reporter told me, and so she hounded me. She threatened me. No.
Okay.
And so I found them. Yeah.
All right. And those exhibits were not offered into evidence. Those were just used with regards to the CPS caseworker.
That's correct.
All right. Is there anything else?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor. I guess just in anticipation of anything going further, and that any allusion to any of those exhibits be brought up before the court outside of the presidential jury prior to going down any line of questioning.
If I believe that exception has to arise, I will approach the court. I will ask that.
All right. So we'll start the trial at 1 p.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone, please be seated. My understanding outside, it's not 108 degrees. I think it's only 100 degrees. So hopefully everyone was able to find a parking space. And the last time you were here, we took a witness out of order. And then the complaining witness was going to be brought back so that the defense could continue with their cross-examination. Defense, are you ready to proceed with your cross?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you. Nina, after we left yesterday, did you go back and talk to the prosecutors?
Yes,
Did they prepare you for today?
yes,
Did they have you watch a YouTube video?
no,
Yesterday, you mentioned that you were hurt by your father because he was not there. Do you remember that?
yes.
How so?
He wasn't around. My father was, I don't know where my father was, honestly. I didn't have any clue of my father.
This is since you were very little.
Yes, when my mom and the defendant started dating.
How old were you?
I was either 5 or 6, I cannot recall exactly.
And I didn't hear you this, but I have to ask you, did you blame my client because your father was gone?
No, I didn't blame him.
Were you mad at him because your father was gone?
No, not at first.
Not at first?
No.
Subsequently, you did?
Yes,
You did. Yesterday, you said that your father had done some wrong things. You remember that?
yes. my mom had
What wrong things were those?
Objection, relevance.
Response?
No, we tried to probe the motive for this 412.
Yeah, objection will be sustained.
Did you feel abandoned by your father?
No, I didn't feel abandoned. I knew things weren't going right between my mother and father. I just didn't know what was going on. And I knew my mom had basically full custody. So,
How did that make you feel?
I was hurt, very hurt.
In fact, you and Jackie were planning to find a way to get him out of the picture, weren't you?
Me and Jacqueline had planned to run away together before, but no, we never planned to get Richard out of the picture.
So did you feel unprotected by your father?
Unprotected?
Yes.
I did.
Again. Did you hate your father?
No,
Have you ever hated your father?
never.
And do you have a relationship with your father?
Yes.
When did he pass away?
He passed away on my daughter's birthday. It was her first birthday. It was June 10th, 2017.
Okay. And do you know the reason why he died?
Objection, relevance.
What's the relevance?
I'll withdraw the question.
All right, objection is sustained.
What name did you call your father when he was alive?
Dad,
You ever call him daddy?
yes.
Yesterday you stated that you hated my client,
As a child, I did.
but you never said why.
No, I didn't.
Could it be because he was between you and your mom? I mean, between your mom and your father?
No, not at all.
Okay. And you stated that my client was funny, right?
Yes,
You, as we stand here, do you believe that Richard, my client, was ever tried to replace your father?
he would never replace my father. No.
Was my client a disciplinarian?
Yes, he was.
Was your father a disciplinarian?
He was. They were just two kind of different disciplinarians.
How was my client's discipline towards you?
It was aggressive and abusive.
And how about to his other children?
Very affectionate, very loving, very compassionate.
Including Jackie?
Sometimes.
You felt resentment because of that?
No, never.
You ever heard my client's children call him daddy?
Yes.
Did you ever call him daddy?
I don't think I ever called him daddy, but I did call him dad.
Yesterday you said that water was denied to you. Do you remember that?
I'm sorry, what was tonight?
You said yesterday that water was denied to you. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
And was anybody else denied water?
Jacqueline was as well.
So you and Jack,
Yes.
is that why you and her decided to get rid of him?
No, we never decided to get rid of him. We never talked about getting rid of him. We would make fun of him behind his back, because he would joke on us and we would get butthurt. So we would just kind of turn around and just do sister talking and make fun of him and just to make ourselves feel better. And then I would just get sentimental and start crying. She'd start crying. We would just kind of plot how we could run away together. But it wasn't all the time. It was very rarely. We probably only talked about that.
How old were you when this was happening?
I mean, it was this whole span between growing up with Richard and home.
So ever since he got into the picture that you were about five, you said?
I wouldn't say, well, not ever since, because at first he was cool to us.
At first?
Yeah.
And do you know why the water was denied to you?
I felt that me and Jacqueline were very hyperactive children, and we, were just being children. We would talk back to our mom, just do silly children things, and Richard would discipline us with not giving into what we asked for. But I just thought it was in the wrong ways.
And yesterday you said that the siblings could get things that you could not.
Yes,
What kind of things?
it could be as little from candy to affection, to attention, to when we would go out to the flea markets a lot. So, you know, it could be just them getting a toy and not us, getting something they enjoy to eat, like a snow cone and not us, things of that nature.
So you were lacking attention from Richard.
Yes,
Did Richard show any favoritism towards his children?
yes.
In what way?
No, those are his children. He loved them dearly. And I did not feel that kind of love from him.
And did that affect you?
I did.
Yesterday you said that you don't want my client to go to jail. You remember that?
Yes,
Is that still the statement?
yes.
Will you be okay if he gets probation, if he gets found guilty?
I wouldn't mind it. I just, my biggest wish is that he gets registered.
Register. So you want him to get sex offender?
Yes,
Why?
because I want to prevent it from happening to the next person. And even if so, that, you know, wouldn't be his motives anymore because people do change. It's just not right that there wasn't any justice served from that.
When you say justice, this is your justice.
No, I think justice of the whole situation, even for my own mom.
So you exercising this for your mom?
No, I'm exercising this for what's right.
Your justice.
No, not my justice. And
Yesterday you said that you were like your mom, but crazier. You remember that?
I didn't say that. I mentioned that how Richard had told me that in my bedroom.
Okay. Do you remember or do you know why?
Objection, speculation.
I'll rephrase. When he said this to you, according to you, did he tell you why?
No, he didn't.
Did you witness a relationship between my client and your mom?
Yes,
What kind of relationship was that?
they loved each other.
They loved each other
Yes.
and you wanted that for yourself?
No, I did not want that for myself. I grew up watching them as an example, as of to what I would like to see when I become a woman in my own relationships. I think that's just what a natural thing that every child does in the home because they were my parents. So I would look up to them. And no matter how bad things were, even though I came to hating Richard, he seemed to make my own mom very happy, and I didn't want to take that from her.
So you wanted to emulate that somehow?
I wanted her to keep that.
You wanted what? I'm sorry?
I wanted my mom to keep that.
Has your mom ever told you that she loves you?
Yes,
When was the last time that she told you that she loved you?
I don't recall.
In fact, yesterday you said the last time you spoke to your mom, quote, was in 2019. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you remember the month?
I have the text messages in my phone. I would have to look, so I don't recall.
Do you want to look?
Yes, thank you. It was August.
In August.
Yes.
Did that hurt you?
I had sent her a message because she had messaged me, and I messaged her 3 days later. So I sent her a message, and I wanted her to really see it because I was excited. And then all of a sudden, a follow message came about how I was blocked, and that did hurt me.
So yeah, you were hurt by your mom
Yes, because I was blocked.
in August of 2019.
Yes.
When did you contact the police in this case?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
When did you contact the police in this case?
November.
You'd be surprised if I told you that they came to your house in October of 2019?
That they came to my house.
That's when you filed a report.
Yes, okay. I don't recall them coming to my house. Sorry.
You need me to show you the video of it?
No, it's okay. I believe it.
Do you recall the video?
No.
When you were at your ex-girlfriend's house
I don't recall the video.
and they came to your house?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Overruled.
You remember that?
No, I don't recall.
October of 2019?
Yeah, I don't recall that memory. I'm sorry.
Can I approach?
Yes.
Just trying to refresh your recollection. Don't speak of any of this. You see that date?
Yes,
Do you remember whether that's when you spoke to the police officer that came to your house?
I recall from that, I guess.
Okay, what date is that?
It was October 2022.
2019, October 22, 2019.
Oh, okay, October 22.
Would you agree?
Yes,
So a month after you have a fallout with your mom, you report my client's incident. Is that correct?
correct.
Did your mom ever call you back to tell you, I'm sorry?
No,
Did your mom ever tell you or call you back and say, I love you?
no,
Has your mom called your daughter?
she's met her behind my back.
When was your daughter born?
Objection, relevance.
I'll withdraw the question.
You can answer the question.
June 10, 2017.
So 2 years prior to your fallout from your mom. Is that correct?
Correct.
So at this time, how does that make you feel?
The fallout or, well,
The fallout.
it made me feel betrayed.
How does it make you feel like your mom doesn't even want anything to do with your granddaughter? I mean, with your daughter?
It hurts me.
Where was this talk with your mom in 2019?
The text messages?
Or was it by text
Yes,
message?
it was by text message.
Okay, where was she at?
I do not know.
Was your mom religious?
Yes, very much so.
How does that affect you? Or affected you, sorry.
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
I learned a lot from her. I
Was-
feel like-
Okay, was she very strict?
She was very strict.
Do you remember the conversation on that texting? What was it about? What you said that you were so excited?
I had started getting into nails and I had did a nail set. So I sent her a picture and I know how she really enjoys getting her nails done. So I offered her a service.
And so what was her response?
There was no response. It just automatically bounced back and I got a message saying how I was blocked.
So is it fair to say that you guys did not end in good terms?
Yes, it's fair to say.
Yesterday, you said you have had no contact with your sibling. Is that correct?
Correct.
Why?
I'm sure it's because my mom doesn't want me around them.
That's how you see it.
It's the energy that I receive. from
That's
that
how you
situation.
perceive it.
The energy I receive.
So that's your truth, correct?
It's not my truth, it is the truth.
Would you like to be contacted by them?
I would love that.
Do you think there's a possibility after all of this that the family can reunite?
Objection, speculation, and relevance.
Sustained to relevance.
When's the last time that somebody told you that they loved you?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
Today,
Was that your child?
my child and my fiance.
When's the last time that anybody have bought you flowers?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
When's the last time anyone has taken you on vacations?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Sustained.
As we stand here today, do you know that your mom loves you?
Yes,
And do you know that your siblings love you?
yes,
And do you feel love?
I feel love from them. I just think we all hurt each other really bad.
And do you believe that that has anything to do with what we're here today?
Objection, speculation, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I think that's why we're all here today.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
State.
Yes, Your Honor. Nina, are we here today because of what the defendant did to you
Yes.
years ago? And you said you haven't spoken to your mom since 2019, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you hate your mom?
No, I do not hate her.
I just want to clear up something from yesterday. There was a the dates on the indictment are brought up. I just want to clarify this for the jury. When's your birthday?
May 11th, 1997.
And so you would have turned 15 in 2012, correct?
Correct,
But not until May 11th of 2012.
correct,
So from January 1st to May 10th, you were still 14 years old.
correct.
You said the defendant was the disciplinarian in the household. Did you do you have any ill feelings towards him for the way he disciplined you?
Not as of today.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Now I'm showing you what's been previously marked as states exhibits 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do you know what these documents are?
Yes,
What are they?
they are pictures of me throughout my childhood.
Judge, I'm gonna object. She's testified from a document that has not been introduced into evidence.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can lay the foundation.
Thank you, Your Honor. You said they're photos of you?
Yes,
Okay, and when, beginning with number 3, when was that photo taken?
when I was 10 years old in third grade.
And exhibit number 4, do you know what age you were when that was taken?
I don't recall if I was 6 or 7, but I was definitely between that bracket.
And states exhibit number 5, do you know when that photo was taken?
I believe I was 7,
And then states exhibit number 6, at what age was that photo taken?
14.
And were those photos in your possession?
Yes,
And have those photos been altered or edited in any way?
no,
And are they true and accurate depictions of the ages you were when those photos were taken?
yes,
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to admit states exhibits 3, 4, 5, and 6 into evidence. Tendering to defense counsel.
You know, may we approach?
Yes.
Nina, when you spoke with, you're not a police officer, is that right?
Correct.
And when you were interviewed by police officers, both when you first reported these incidents and then in 2019 when you spoke with officers, did officers ask you questions during those interviews?
Yes,
And did you respond to their questions with the answers you believe were appropriate?
yes,
And did you withhold any information from them?
no,
So if any information was not given to the police, then it could be possible that they didn't ask a question that you would have answered in that way.
most definitely,
But you didn't do that purposely.
no.
Um, and you stated that when was the last time that you had sexual intercourse with the defendant?
It was February 2000 and oh, I'm sorry, I need to calculate when I was 14. Two 2012.
And do you have any feelings of ill will towards your siblings for the way that they were treated by the defendant compared to how he treated you?
Not at all.
You stated that you still consider them full siblings, even though you don't share both the same parents.
Most definitely.
Nothing further, John.
Okay.
Nina, how many times have you met with the prosecutors?
I can't count that. I can't count that.
Several times, correct?
Yes, several times.
Are your answers being a little bit reversed?
No, it's just I have to keep answering the same questions. So that's really good because it helps me remember.
Because it seems like there's a lot of details, dates that you remember. And this has been how long?
Objection, Your Honor, to the sidebar.
All right, the objection to sidebar will be sustained. You may ask your question, counsel.
Is it possible for your memory to get better as times go by?
If you take care of yourself properly, which I have not been doing.
So your memory, is it getting better?
I say some days it's better, some days it's not. My body is the type that I have to take care of it daily in order to be sharp and vigilant.
And again, for people that have never met you, like the jury, do your answers appear to be rehearsed?
Objection to the sidebar, Your Honor.
No, that'll be overruled. Any other objection?
Speculation.
All right, sustained.
How many times have you made the same accusations against my client?
Objection, Your Honor. This is outside the scope of free debate.
Overruled.
Several times.
Can I approach you on?
Yes.
And I'm gonna show you what has been previously marked as the evidence exhibit number 8, number 9, and number 10. And I'm gonna ask you not to say anything about the document. But are you familiar with the contents of that document?
Yes,
And do you have personal knowledge? Actually, does that document accurately portrays what it purports to be?
yes,
Does it appear to be altered in any way, shape, or form?
And I'm going to object, Your Honor.
You don't even know what I'm showing.
I'll withhold the objection, Your Honor.
no, not altered.
And do you have personal knowledge as to the contents of those documents?
Yes, no, I do.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm gonna tender it into the posting to the government. Defendants exhibit number 8, number 9, and number 10 for their perusal and objections.
Your Honor, your question.
Yes. And Mr. Cox, can you make sure that door is closed? All right. So we're on the record. Defense is seeking to offer defense exhibits 8, 9, and 10. And I'm going to hear your objections again because I know the court reporter was having difficulty appearing. Please be seated. So state, what is your objection to defendants exhibits 8, 9, and 10? I know that you previously stated lack of personal knowledge. The witness has testified that she has personal knowledge of this. So that objection for personal knowledge will be overruled. What is your other objection?
Your Honor, we do have an additional objection, but based on the personal knowledge objection, if we could ask for a chance to voir dire the witness.
No, you said your objection was lack of personal knowledge. She says she has personal knowledge of it. Your next objection was hearsay?
What's the hearsay, Your Honor?
All right, defense. What is your response to the state's hearsay objection?
Your Honor, there's an exception to the hearsay rule in this.
Oh, you can remain seated.
Oh, I'm sorry. In this particular case, this is definitely a declaration against interest. So that's an actual exception to the hearsay rule. And now as these documents, they are self-authenticated. These are documents that are prepared by the Texas Department of Public Safety, so they don't need proper authentication. It's just one of those things that.
Okay, time out. Everyone, please. Let him make his argument. I will give everybody a chance to make an argument, but when everybody's speaking over each other, the court reporter cannot hear. I cannot hear. So counsel, finish your argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's, the hearsay exception, we believe it applies. Also, these documents are self-authenticated, Your Honor, which is another way for the rules to allow documents to be introduced into evidence. And so because of that, Your Honor, we believe these documents are relevant. And it's actually answering the question that she actually answered, in which she stated that she had made several accusations in the past against my client. These are those accusations, Your Honor. Which,
All right, with regards to defense exhibits 8, 9, and 10. With regards to self-authenticating document, this is not certified to, it doesn't meet the requirements of being self-authenticated. I do understand that at the top of the form, it says Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, but that's the only thing that it says. So it's not certified. With regards to allegations that are against self-interest, the documents do not appear to have any statement made by the witness that is against self-interest. What it appears to the court, and if I'm incorrect, let me know. It appears to the court that there is a party, and it appears to be Yvonne Ochoa, who has stated that she's ruled out the allegations. And the allegations that she has appears to have ruled out in each case is the sexual abuse allegations, that these documents are dated February 28th, 2013, March 10th, 2020, and October 12th, 2009. This is not the witness that these documents should come in. The objections to defense exhibits 8, 9, and 10 will be sustained. All right, we're off the record. Counsel, do you need this witness, Ms. Yvonne Ochoa here?
no, Your Honor, I need the documents though.
Okay. So you're not going to, we can go on the record. Are you planning on calling this witness, or do you need the witness to be brought here?
I haven't made the decision yet, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, is there anything else with regards to those documents?
State has nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, is the jury still in the hallway? Can you have them brought in, please? Sean, the email that you just sent me, the order will just suffice. Because I just, can you make sure that that's in the file that she said that she had no objections to? We're ready.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Defense, it's your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Nina, isn't it true that in 2010, an accusation of sexual abuse was made against my client and it was ruled out by the Texas Department of Family and Protective Service?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Nina, isn't it true that in,
And Your Honor, we'd ask the jury, we ask to disregard that question.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're to disregard that last question.
Nina, the last time I asked you and you said that you have made other accusations against my client, is that correct?
Yes.
Were they ever substantiated?
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of personal knowledge.
That'll be overruled. If you know, you can answer.
I don't know.
But we know that this is not the first time that you made this type of accusations, correct?
Correct.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any further questions?
Nothing based on that, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state.
We're gonna hold her subject to recall now.
All right. You need to make sure that you're available if anyone decides to recall you. You're still under oath. You're still subject to the rules of the court. You are not allowed to view anything or talk to anyone about your testimony. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand? All right, thank you. You may step down. Thank you, Mr. Cox. State, you can call your next witness.
State calls Detective Escareno.
Can I give this to the?
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Your Honor.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you
Yes, ma'am.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record and please spell it and make sure you keep your voice up so that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can hear.
Yes, ma'am. Detective Israel, Israel, Escareno, Escareno.
All right, state.
Detective Escareno, how are you presently employed?
Detective with the San Antonio Police Department, Special Victims Unit,
And how long have you worked for San Antonio Police Department?
22 years.
Do you have to be a peace officer to do that job?
Yes, sir.
And do you have to have any type of formal training to become a detective?
There is on-the-job training.
Do you have to take any continuing education for your role?
It is asked and sometimes required, yes.
Okay. And to become a police officer in the first place, is there training for that?
Yes, 9 months in the academy.
And you've done all training that has been required of you for your position?
Yes, sir.
You said you were in the Special Victims Unit?
Correct.
And do you handle cases involving indecent touching?
Yes,
Okay. Do you handle cases where there's children as victims?
yes.
What's the normal way for you to become involved in an investigation like this?
Initially, I'll get the report itself from the field officer that took the initial report. I identify the victim and the suspect, make contact with the victim. In this case, if the victim is a juvenile, I'll get the parent involved to see if they can bring the victim in for a forensic interview. Set up the interview, review the interview. And once I take the victim's statement, contact the suspect if he wishes to come in to give a statement as well.
And did you become involved in an indecency case involving Richard Thomas?
Yes, sir.
How did you become involved with that case?
That case was brought to me normally as it does to the Special Victims Unit and was assigned to it.
And so you were mentioning some of the steps in your normal investigation. Would you consider the process to be a quick process or a slow process?
Quick process.
Quick process. About how many weeks does it take to develop a case normally?
You're not right, man. We approach.
Yes. All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, if in a case like this where it's alleged that the abuse to a child was committed by one of the child's guardians,
or parents. Is it normal for the child, while the case is pending, to be left with the alleged abuser?
No,
Okay. If the parent that continues to be the guardian while the case is pending, or let's say they get a new guardian even, if that guardian is not cooperative with the investigation, does it make it easier to do the investigation or harder?
harder.
Okay. In your experience, have you ever had a parent coerce a child to recant?
There have been some cases.
Okay. You mentioned a forensic interview. In a case with a child victim or child complainant, why is a forensic interview important to have completed?
Forensics interviews are basically obtaining the victim's statement. And normally for a juvenile, we'll send them to an outside facility that deals with interviewing victims at that age, so we can properly take their statement and report it.
Do the forensic interviewers ask leading questions or non-leading questions?
Non-leading questions.
And if someone is an adult and they're reporting something that happened to them as a child, is it normal to go ahead and do a forensic interview for that adult?
No, as an adult, I normally have them come and give me a statement.
Okay. And with children who are making an outcry of sexual abuse, do they always make their outcry immediately?
No,
Is there ever a situation when a medical professional might evaluate, let's say like a nurse or somebody, they would evaluate a complainant in a case like this?
yes, we do have a 120-hour window. If the crime was committed within that window, we'll ask the victim to see if they will perform a SANE examination.
A SANE examination.
Correct.
Can you tell the jury what SANE stands for?
It's a sexual assault examination that's conducted by the hospitals by a qualified nurse that is trained in that specific area of investigating sexual assaults. It could be, we do have a children's hospital that specializes in that, and also we have the adult hospital that specializes in that. So basically, they collect evidence within swabs, or also conducting an interview with the victim at the same time.
And when somebody's reporting something that happened when they were, say, 14 years old, and at this point they're a legal adult over the age of 18, would you conduct a SANE examination in that situation?
No.
Did you hear the allegations made by Nina Sanchez about Mr. Thomas in your investigation?
Yes.
And did you attempt to reach out to any potential witnesses and talk about the case with them?
I believe so.
Did you speak with Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Did you conduct an in-person interview with Mr. Thomas?
Yes, I did.
When you conducted that interview, did he say anything about wanting to be a stepfather?
We spoke about that.
Did he say he was wanting to be a stepfather, like he wanted that role, or did he say that he didn't want that role, or did he say either way?
He stated that he did not want to be a stepfather.
Okay. Do you recall if he said why he didn't want to be a stepfather?
Based on the interview, he stated he did not care much about the two daughters that were his. He had started out at his young age in a relationship and wanted to pretty much be a bachelor.
Did you discuss anything with Nina Sanchez?
Interview?
An interview, yes.
Yes.
Was that interview in person or over the phone?
I don't quite remember that.
Okay. Did you discuss the case with Santa Sanchez?
Yes.
And do you recall if that was an in-person or over the phone interview?
I don't remember.
Did you review Nina's statement on the body worn camera to the officers who first went and took her statement?
That I don't remember.
Okay. After you completed your investigation, did you proceed with any formal charges against Mr. Thomas?
No, I basically filed a report to the district attorney's office.
And did you mention any charges in your report?
Yes.
And do you recall what charges you mentioned in your report?
I believe it was indecency with child.
Would having your report refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
And I'll mark this as State's Exhibit 21. Have you got any exhibit yet? 7. State's Exhibit number 7. And so which charges were listed in the prosecution? Were listed in the prosecution guide.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm gonna ask this witness not to testify for a document that has not been introduced. And he did not produce this secretarial guide, he produced his statement.
That is the prosecution guide produced by the witness, only used to refresh the witness's memory. And if the witness needs to be admonished not to read from it, the state has no objection to that.
That was my objection.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
And just if it wasn't clear, you may read it and refresh your memory, and then you can give your answer from your refreshed memory.
Okay, sexual assault of a child.
So when you interviewed the defendant, do you remember what he said? Did you ask him if he had touched the complainant inappropriately?
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Sustained.
What sort of questions did you ask the defendant?
I'd asked him if he, what type of relationship he had with the victim.
Did he say he had a good relationship or a bad relationship?
He basically told me he did not have any interaction with the victim. Did not want to get too much involved with the victim or the other child.
And on that basis, was that his way? What was he trying to tell you when he told you that?
Objection, Your Honor, calls speculation.
Sustained.
And when he said he had not been around the children, was that in line with what you'd heard from other witnesses?
I believe so.
How many interviews have you done as a detective?
Numerous, too many to count.
Would you ballpark, could you say it's more than 100 or less than 100?
More than 100.
And have you interviewed any fathers before?
Yes,
And in your experience is a father who says they just completely ignore the children because they want nothing to do with them. Is that a sign of a loving father?
Yes, Your Honor, goes speculation.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Detective, looking at that prosecutorial guide that you have, isn't it true that my client told you that he didn't do this?
correct.
In fact, isn't it true that you found out that Nina has schizophrenia?
Objection. This violates the state's motion of limine, and he did not lay the proper foundation for any of this information.
Your Honor, you stated I could go into the mental health.
If the foundation was laid, Your Honor, that was the discussion.
All right, the objection will be sustained if you want to lay the foundation.
Yes, Your Honor. You have several conversations with Nina's mother, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, you mentioned them in your report, do you not?
Correct.
And through the process, did the mom show any concern about Nina?
Object to hearsay. The question calls for hearsay.
Overruled. You can't say what was said. You can just either answer yes or no to that question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And based on that knowledge, did you ascertain the truthfulness of Nina?
Object to improper impeachment. It's
Overruled. Any other
object
objection?
to beyond the scope of this witness's testimony. It's the scope of the
Can
jury.
I not cross?
And object to speculation as well.
All right, with regards to speculation, that'll be overruled. Do you have any other objection?
Object to exceeding the scope of this witness. It's within the purview of the jury to determine the credibility of the previous witness, not this witness.
All right, that will be sustained.
You had, and I quote, 40 lines of story. Is that true?
Object to hearsay.
Overruled.
okay, repeat the question again, sir.
You can count. How many lines do you have telling the story?
Well, if you say 40, then
And in one of those lines, detective, she goes on to tell you that she has had sex for the first time with my
Object to
client.
hearsay, Your Honor. This witness is, or the attorney is reading in now a document that's not in
Parties
evidence to
approach.
the record.
So detective, did Nina tell you that her first sexual encounter with my client was while she was standing up?
what was the question again, sir?
Did Nina tell you that her first sexual encounter with my client happened while she was standing up?
First encounter looks like it was,
Excuse me. That's either a yes or no question.
yes, ma'am. No,
So she didn't tell you that he pulled out her pants and
Object to
turned her around?
hearsay.
Sustained.
Did she tell you about any blood?
Object to hearsay.
That'll be sustained.
Did you ask her about any blood?
no,
Your report talks about blood, doesn't it?
Object to hearsay.
That'll be overruled.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
yes,
So the answer to the previous question is a yes.
correct,
And does the report talk also about ejaculation?
yes,
And this supposedly happened while they were standing up.
Object to hearsay and assuming facts.
Sustained.
I'll withdraw that question. Detective, can a female lose her virginity while she's standing up?
yes,
And sexual intercourse has happened while you're standing up?
yes,
And how long does it usually that take?
Object to relevance and perhaps speculation.
All right, with relevance, that will be overruled with regards to speculation, if you know.
I don't know,
You don't know. In fact, your statement, you wrote that she was in the house while everybody was there.
Object to hearsay again.
Sustained.
Now, approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
So everybody was at the house.
Object to hearsay again, Your Honor. The objection was sustained. He pointed out a spot on the exhibit and he's trying to ask the same.
I'm
question.
refreshing the recollection of the witness, Your Honor. This is his statement.
All right, the objection to hearsay will be sustained. If you want to lay the foundation as to what his investigation was and what he did, then you may do that.
Detective, did you have a meeting with Nina when you took this information?
yes,
All these 40 lines?
yes,
And this is accurate and true representation of what this exchange between you and her?
Just repeat the question again,
Is this an accurate representation of the exchange between you and her?
correct,
Did you put anything into it that just was your idea?
no,
Was this her statements to you?
yes,
And you wrote them down as she stated?
yes,
Okay, now, you have personal knowledge as to what is in this document, don't you?
yes,
Because you wrote it.
correct,
Okay. And has it been altered in any way, shape, or form?
no,
And do you have personal knowledge to the contents of this document?
yes,
So based on that, sir, isn't it true that everybody was in the house?
Object to hearsay, Your Honor. He is asking.
Sustained.
yes,
Excuse me. When I rule on an objection, if you don't know whether or not you should answer, just ask me.
yes, ma'am,
All right.
Do you know whether my client ejaculated or not?
Object to hearsay. This was already addressed. For objection.
This is parties approach. All right, defense.
Thank you, Doctor. How long was your meeting with Nina?
I don't remember.
Now, these are serious allegations. Do you agree?
Yes,
And you don't remember how long it took you?
no.
What sort of questions did you ask Nina to ascertain whether she was telling the truth?
Just basic questions.
Such as,
What brought her into my location to give a statement?
I mean, you have to agree with me. These are very serious accusations, aren't they?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
Correct,
This is a very vivid picture of events, isn't it?
correct.
Does it sound as something that had been rehearsed? You know what? Don't answer that. Did you ask Nina to submit to a polygraph test?
Objection outside the scope of,
I'm cross-examining.
and object to defense interrupting the state as they're
All right,
just stating their objection.
sustain. You
Um,
may make your objection.
And can you repeat the question? Sorry. Lost my train of thought.
You may ask your question.
Judge, I don't remember.
He doesn't remember his question.
All right. Your question to the court reporter, if you read that back.
Does it sound like something that has been rehearsed? You know what, don't answer that. Did you ask Nina to submit to a polygraph test? Objection outside the scope of cross-examination.
All right, with regards to the objection outside the scope, that's overruled.
The state would object to relevance.
That would be sustained.
How long did it take you to investigate this case, detective?
Three and a half months.
3.5 months.
Correct.
During this 3.5 months, how much investigation of Nina did you do?
Her interview.
That's it?
Correct.
Did you check police records,
I don't remember.
arrest,
I don't remember.
school records,
I don't remember.
counseling records,
I don't remember.
doctor records?
I don't remember.
What kind of investigation did you do, detective?
Obtain Nina's statement and Mr. Thomas's statement
That's it.
and any other witnesses' statements.
And here we are. 4 years later, based on statement, trying to prosecute my client. You think that's fair?
Object to speculation and relevance.
Sustained as to relevance.
You certainly called her neighbor to see what kind of neighbor she was, didn't you?
I don't remember that.
Because you didn't, did you?
It's not a,
To argumentative.
Overruled.
it's not a report.
You believe this is a fair report?
Object to relevance.
Overruled.
Yes,
Do you believe that this is just the best report you could ever bring?
yes,
In fact, did you even check the prior allegations that were found to be false?
Object to defense attorney testifying and speculation.
All right, with regards to the defense attorney testifying, that will be sustained.
Did you ascertain as to anything that has been charged in the past?
repeat the question.
Did you ascertain as to any other allegations in the past?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. So you're telling the jury that you don't know whether Nina has made these allegations in the past? Is that what
I
you expect them
didn't
to
know
believe?
there was a prior recant of a prior case.
Okay. And so what did you learn about that?
The report at that time stated that the victim had recanted that original statement.
What does that mean for the jury so they can understand?
Basically, the victim had recanted and took back what she had stated originally in that original report.
No further questions, Your Honor.
When did you do the investigation in this case?
The investigation began in November of, forgive me, I'm sorry, October 2019.
And when you're doing an investigation like this, is it normal to investigate the criminal records of the complainant?
Yes,
Is it normal to look into school records?
yes,
Is it normal to look into counseling records?
yes.
And how many cases have you investigated since you investigated this case? Since 2019?
I can't have a number, too many.
Okay, they're countless cases.
Correct.
No further questions.
So let me get this straight. It's normal to look at the records, right? That's what you testify. Yes?
Correct.
And it's normal to investigate, correct?
Correct.
Well, you didn't do it, did you?
Object to misportraying his previous answer.
Overruled.
You didn't do it, did you?
I did the background check of Mr. Thomas.
Of the complainant, sir.
No,
Mhm. Prosecutor just asked you, this report was October 2019, correct?
correct.
Did you ask Nina whether she had just had a fight with her mother?
No,
Did you know that she had a fight with her in August 2019?
I don't remember.
Because you didn't ask, did you? No further
No.
questions, Your Honor.
State,
No further, nothing further. No.
is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Excuse from the statement.
Excuse from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much for
Yes.
coming in. State, call your next witness.
State has no other witnesses and state wants to stop.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you all a brief recess. I have to take up another matter outside your presence. It's unrelated to this case. It's just something from our morning docket. So I'm going to have you all back by 3. Remember my instructions. You're not allowed to start deliberating with yourself or with each other. You're not allowed to view anything or see anything. You're not allowed to do any investigation. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. Back on the record in 2021 CR 4470, State of Texas versus Richard Anthony Thomas. Court is in receipt of a motion that's been filed where the defendant is requesting a motion for directed verdict. State, have you had a chance to review the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Your Honor, this particular case was filed, or the trial began August 8th, and it closed today, August the 10th. The burden of the state, based on the evidence that we have heard, has not been met. Specifically in decency with the child. Now, we have gone through, and we believe that because of Moff v. State 131, Southwest 3rd, 485, 488 in 2004, and William v. State 937, Southwest 2nd, 479, 482, and 2004, the defense believed that the state has not met the burden of proof, specifically the prima facie of the case. Now, in conjunction with this, Your Honor, I'd like to file an actually running objection. And this is based on 296 Southwest 3rd, 555, 2009. This is a Texas criminal appellate case in which the court ruled that the defense was entitled to ask when false accusations came about. And in this particular case, the court ruled that the defense was not able to go into it with a detective, nor were we be able to go into it with the actual victim. And so as a result, Your Honor, we believe that this falls squarely within that case. And as a result, we, based on those two factors, we're requesting that the court grant the directed verdict, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Your Honor, it's the state's position that we have presented enough evidence through the state's witnesses to present a prima facie case on counts 1 and 2 of indecency with the child. Through the testimony of Nina Sanchez, she did testify to 2 incidents of touching by the defendant. One by the defendant's genitals touching the complainant, and the second, the defendant's hand touching the complainant's genitals. In addition to the testimony, we have provided an unrebutted confession signed by the defendant as to the second instance of touching, and have presented evidence into as much as there is a possibility for the jury to come to another verdict than presented by the defendant.
All right.
Can I have an order? Can I?
Yes, Sure.
Cash.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Defense motion is denied. Defense, are you prepared to call witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Deputy Laura, if you'll bring the jury in. We're ready.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Defense, you may call your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense calls Santa Elana Thomas.
Okay. All right, you'll take a seat here, please. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, but nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I affirm.
All right. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can hear. If you'll state your name for the record.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Sandra Elena Thomas.
All right. Defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Thomas, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how are you related to my client?
I am his wife.
And how long have you been married to my client?
I believe 12 years.
12 years. And now tell the members of the jury, what is your relation to Nina Sanchez,
I am her mother.
biological?
Yes, her biological mother
And how long have you been her mother?
for 26 years.
26 years. Do you love your daughter?
Of course.
Daughter. Has Nina ever made accusations against your husband?
Yes, she has.
And what has happened with those accusations?
Object to lack of personal knowledge.
Your
All
Honor,
right. You
based
can lay
on
the foundation.
you know your daughter, right?
Yes.
And when she was young, actually, let me ask you this. When was the first time she ran away from home?
I believe she was 11.
Object to leading.
Overruled.
Yeah, that approach. Good approach.
All right. You may answer the question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. When was the first time she left the house?
Object to assuming facts not in evidence.
Overruled.
She was 11.
11. And has she done this multiple times?
She did it about 4 times.
That she's ran away from the house?
Yes.
And did she give you an indication as to why she ran out of the house?
Object to eliciting hearsay.
All right. That'll be sustained.
Do you have any knowledge as to why she ran to the house?
I ran away from home. A few times she was upset because
Object to hearsay.
All right. You can answer yes or no to the question, but not what was told to you.
Were you aware as the reason as to why she left?
Yes.
Okay? And did you try to talk to her out of running away?
She didn't tell me she was gonna run away. She just did it.
Okay? And when was the first time that you found out that your daughter was sexually active?
Object to improper impeachment under Rule 412.
All right. That'll be sustained.
Has your daughter ever told you that she was sexually active?
Object to improper impeachment under Rule 412.
All right. Number one, I don't believe he's impeaching the witness, but I will sustain your objection under 412.
Just so that I have clarification, I'm trying to, again, establish the motive, which is the exception of the 412. That's what I'm.
All right. So then we need to have a hearing on that outside the presence of the jury.
Okay, Your Honor, understood.
No, we can do that. We can have a hearing outside the presence. Okay.
Move on. Why are you still with my client?
Because he's a good person and he's been very honest and very caring to the whole family.
How can you tell the members of the jury that he's being honest when he's been accused of indecency with your daughter?
Well, I have proof and of the things that I've been through in my life with my daughter and what she's told me herself.
What sort of things you have?
Object to hearsay.
All right. You cannot say what someone has told you.
Oh,
What sort of proof do you have?
And object to improper impeachment. You can't impeach someone this way with specific
Overruled.
instances of conduct.
I'm sorry.
What sort of proof do you have?
About Richard being honest and him not doing it, and the fact
Let me change this. What type of student was she in school?
that she was A and B student.
NB student. And when you started seeing her behavior change,
Nina's behavior has always been kind of different. She could do good in school, but she was always having issues of the teacher calling about her stealing, taking other things from students and so forth.
So she's been a problematic child.
Yes, for in school, taking things, yes.
Tell the jury what happened between you and her father.
Object to relevance.
Overrule.
We were married. He started, he was a Christian man. And he never showed signs of abuse or anything like that, or drugs. And then when we got married, he started showing, like, I couldn't go to my parents' house, I couldn't talk to my siblings, I couldn't do certain things. And then he got to the point where he got controlling and the rent wasn't getting paid. I started finding out that he wasn't being very honest with me. And then he started getting physical with me. I found drugs in the home. He would lock me in, and Nina was already born, in one bedroom. He would put nails on the windows and I couldn't get out to go get help. And we only had a landline. We did not have anything other things. He would put baby powder on the floor and tell me that if somebody was coming in the home, he'll know. So nobody's coming in the home, and he would step on it. He says, look, I know somebody's coming in the home. So it got real ugly. It started getting physical. There was drugs. One night his sister called me stating that my ex-husband was in the hospital. He got stabbed. I told her I really didn't care, because at that point it was really ugly. I had domestic violence reports. And then
Your Honor, at this time, the state's going to renew its relevance objection and also object to narrative.
Sustained.
Let me ask you a question. Nina watched all of this.
she was little. She was about 1.5, 2.
Did you tell her anything that happened between you and your ex?
Well, she heard it, yes,
You think that affected her?
of course.
We learned that in 2019, you and her was the last time you communicated with her. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you remember the month?
I texted her August 1st, and I was checking on her. She did not respond, because previously we had been texting over the whole year and calling each other. And in July, she had called me out. I was at a Christian assembly, and I was in Houston. And so she texted me that she wanted to commit suicide.
Object to hearsay.
I have the
Sustained.
text messages.
All right, the objection is sustained.
Would you consider your relationship with your daughter tumultuous?
Yes,
Have you shown her the love that she needs?
not recently. We haven't seen each other, but yes, I've shown her love. I've been there for her.
Will you be surprised if I tell you that she doesn't feel loved by you?
She's told me that, yes.
How does that make you feel like a mother?
It hurts, because I've been there for her, and I've taken care of all my kids the same way.
You're choosing your husband over your daughter.
That I did not choose my husband over my daughter. I chose my daughter before anybody else.
In fact, tell the members of the jury what happened when she came in and told you this information.
Object to leading.
Overrule.
When it was on a Thursday, Friday, as she approached me, we were in the vehicle in my Durango with the other kids. And she had told me that Richard,
Object to hearsay, Your Honor.
All right, sustained.
she had told me.
Excuse me. Once I rule on an objection, just 1 second. Once I rule on an objection, if you don't know whether or not you should continue to answer, just ask me.
Okay.
You may ask your question.
Ms. Thomas, you cannot say what she told you.
Oh,
I'll let you know.
so after she spoke to me and she told me, I told her and my other daughter, Jacqueline, to stay in the vehicle. And I told her to take care of the little ones, because my son and my daughter were little. And I went in the house and I got a knife. And he was asleep. And I was gonna kill him that day, because of what she had told me. I remember I got on top of the bed and I started hitting him.
Object to narrative.
Overrule.
I I heard my kids screaming. And they told me, Mom. And I told them to get the hell out of the house. And I just remember crying with my kids.
You remember what year that was?
I don't remember the year.
But you were ready to kill him for your daughter.
Yes, I was.
How many times has Nina made the same allegations?
She's called CPS 6 times.
She's called.
Well, I don't know if she's called, but CPS has been involved in our lives.
Object to lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled.
And this 6 times, at any of those times, did they remove the kids away from you?
The first time they did.
And so what happened?
Belinda had told me,
Belinda Castellanos?
yes,
Object to hearsay again.
Sustained. You can't state
I'm
what
sorry.
someone told you.
She didn't say Your Honor, she just stated that's her name, Belinda Castellanos. Is that her name?
yes,
Excuse me. My objection to hearsay is sustained.
What is the name of this, of the CPS worker that came to your house?
Belinda Castellano.
Okay.
I was told, that Richard Thomas had to be removed out of the home. And then they removed the children out of the home.
Sorry.
Belinda ever tell you how to get your children back?
Yes,
How?
Object to hearsay.
Sustained.
What did your husband do to get the children back?
Object to lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled.
he took a lie detector test.
And so what happened after?
I was told that he had failed it,
Who asked you to, for him to take a lie detector?
Miss Castellano.
She asked you.
Yes.
Object to hearsay.
Overruled.
Did that change everything?
Well, him taking the lie detector test. Well, when they told me, yeah, that he had failed it, I would question a lot of stuff.
Do you know why your husband will take a lie detector?
But I know he would, because he told me that he goes, I have nothing to hide, I'll do it. Because I have nothing to
Object to
hide.
hearsay.
Sustained.
I do believe that that's the, I'm just rephrase, objection is a hearsay exception, right? He's here present.
Sustained.
After the examination, the polygraph, that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
After that, did you get your children back?
A month later,
And did anybody file any charges against your husband?
no,
Now, even after this, you're still here in front of the jury testifying on behalf of your husband, are you not?
Yes.
Why?
because I know him, you have to understand, living in the home, Richard was never left really with the kids at all. They were in daycare and with me. Richard didn't want to be around the kids, and I'm being very honest.
Object to hearsay.
Overruled.
I mean, I was the one taking care of them day and night. They would go to work with me until the daycare opened. Then I would take them to daycare. Then the daycare would take the girls to school and the kids would stay there for daycare, get off work, go pick up the kids, the little ones, and then go get my girls from school. And they come home with me.
Is Nina capable of creating this a story, a fantasy?
Object to speculation.
Sustained.
As a mother, do you know your child?
Yes.
And do you know her to be a truthful child?
Object to improper impeachment and improper impeachment.
Overruled.
And outside the purview of this witness, because it's the purview of the jury to determine the credibility of the witness and not this witness.
Overruled.
Nina can make stories, yes.
Is that normal?
No. I mean, to make up stories, like her saying that she wrote songs and they were Hannah Montana songs. I'm giving you an example. She said she wrote the
And
song.
object to improper impeachment.
Sustained.
So you have a child with a very imagination.
Object to speculation.
Overruled.
Do you have personal knowledge whether she has any mental conditions?
Yes.
And did you take her to a doctor?
Yes, she had a psychiatrist, a therapist, and then she had multiple therapists coming to the home.
And do you know the diagnosis that was given to you?
Object to eliciting hearsay.
Sustained.
Did the doctor give you any diagnosis?
Object to eliciting hearsay.
And
You
did
can answer,
receive-
excuse me, when an objection is made, let me make my ruling. You can answer yes or no to that question, but you cannot say what anyone else told you.
Yes,
And did you seek further treatment for Nina
yes,
for the diagnosis?
yes,
Was she prescribed any medications?
yes.
And how long was she on treatment for those?
Until she left home,
Did she what?
until she left home.
When she received medication, would her mood change?
She had some side effects with the medications, yes.
At what point did you take my client back into your home?
At which point, and the first time with CPS,
Oh, that's right, there were many times.
yes, the first time, it took about 6 or 7 months before he came back into the home.
Now, time and time and time again, Nina tells you he did something, correct? You kick him out, correct?
Right.
CPS comes back, and they find nothing.
Object to lack of personal knowledge.
Sustained.
Did you receive pieces of paper from the Texas Department of Public Safety
Yes,
telling you what the outcome of the investigation?
yes,
General, may I approach?
Yes.
Thomas, I'm gonna show you what has been marked as defense exhibit number 8, number 9, and number 10. And I'm going to ask you whether you know what those documents are,
yes,
okay? And have they been altered in any way?
no,
Do you have personal knowledge to the content of these documents?
Mhm.
What was the outcome of the investigation done in 2010?
Objection,
The allegations.
lack of personal knowledge and hearsay.
Sustained as to hearsay.
Do you know what CPS found?
Object to hearsay and lack of personal knowledge.
Sustained.
Were these accusations ruled out?
yes,
Object to hearsay.
Sustained.
And I'd ask, Your Honor, for the jury to disregard the answer that the witness gave before this court gave its answer on the objection.
All right. You're to disregard that last answer.
When I ask you only if you know, why do you think that Nina will create this story?
Object to speculation.
Sustained.
Has Nina created any types of stories before?
Object to improper impeachment. Object to hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes,
Is that typical of her?
Object to improper impeachment.
Overruled.
it became the norm.
How does that make you feel as a mother?
Sad.
Your little child, you couldn't do anything to help her, could you?
I try to get everything I could get for her.
What did you try to get?
Therapy, therapist coming over, try to see I didn't understand. But because there were psychological problems.
Object to hearsay and speculation by this witness.
All right, that will be sustained.
Did you treat her differently than any other one of your children?
No,
Will you be surprised if I told you that she told the jury yesterday that she was denied water?
I wouldn't be surprised.
And did you deny water from her?
No, I did not deny water from her.
When she went to stay with the tias, who was the tia that she went to live with?
She stayed with my sister Grace Martinez.
Grace. And do you know why she came back?
Why she came back?
Yes.
She had told my sister she wanted to come back because she missed us all.
Sorry. Object to hearsay on that last answer.
All right, that's untimely.
When she came back, how was the relationship between Nina and my client?
It was fine. It wasn't like the way, I mean, they had an okay relationship, but it wasn't like a father-daughter relationship.
Okay. Did you see any type of inclination of sexual nature?
No,
Did you see my client touching your daughter inappropriately?
no, they were never by themselves. The kids were either with me in one room, and because he was always with his uncles or his brothers, but he was never like with the children.
Would he take showers and walk around naked in front of the kids?
No, he would not do that.
Was he in the habit of ejaculating over the bed?
No,
Did you guys ever make love while you were standing up?
no, not never.
Object to relevance.
Sustained.
In the report, have you read the report
Oh, from what? I'm sorry.
from the investigation?
I just saw the video, not the report.
Okay, do you think that the investigation in this case was fair?
Object to speculation, relevance, and lack of personal knowledge.
Sustained.
How many times the investigator interviewed you?
The one from 2019,
Let's talk about that one.
they called, they never came to interview. I never went or anything. They called.
Anybody ask you whether Nina could lie?
No,
Could you have said that she doesn't lie?
I cannot say that.
You aware that your daughter stated that she was experimenting since she was very young?
Object to eliciting hearsay.
Sustained.
What type of conversations did you have with your daughter, Nina?
Depending on what she was doing, there was a lot of things that was going on, and I was trying to give her advice as a mother to what she should be doing and not be doing as a young person.
Do you believe my client's story?
Yes,
Did you believe Nina's story?
not so.
Object to improper impeachment.
Any other objection?
And object to usurping the purview of the jury to determine the credibility of this witness.
Sustained.
When you separated from your first husband, was that fair to Nina?
Objection, relevance, objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Was it fair to Nina? I don't think it's fair to any kid.
Did that have affected her?
Yes,
When you took Richard back, could that have affected Nina?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled.
I'm sure it probably did.
Do you know whether your daughter hates Richard?
I don't know if she hates him because, I mean, she acted like she was okay with him and she hated me in the family unit. I was always the bad guy. But then when we see things that she's doing, or Richard would bring out to me, hey, she needs to stop doing this. Why is she doing this? It was like, okay, he's a bad guy.
So Richard was the enforcer.
He was
of
the
rules.
enforcer. Yes.
Nina obviously did not like that.
No, she did not like that.
Was he the same with all his children?
No, with Nina and Jacqueline, he was a little bit harder than the two younger ones.
You think that could create resentment on children?
Yes.
Objection speculation.
Sustained.
In fact, was it obvious as a mother that he was treating two of your children differently than the other two?
Yes.
How could you be sure that my client did not touch your daughter inappropriately?
Objection speculation.
Sustained.
You and my client had multiple conversations, correct?
Correct.
In fact, we just learned that you tried to kill him one time, correct?
Correct.
What changed?
I mean, we still have disputes. Believe me, we had arguments throughout.
Welcome to married life.
Yeah. And
What changed?
well, I mean, I've asked him questions plenty of times and he's never lied to me when I asked him certain things. And I was waiting for that lie. He did not lie. And
I object to speculation and hearsay.
Approach, Your Honor.
Sustained to hearsay.
Sorry, approach.
Yes.
Make sure that what has been marked as stakes exhibit 2A, and this is into evidence. So you can completely read it out loud if you want. And have you seen this document before?
no,
You have not?
no, I have not seen this document.
How do you find out that Richard made a confession?
Miss Belinda Castillo.
Objection calls for speculation and lack of personal knowledge.
Any other objection?
A hearsay.
Sustain as to hearsay.
Just if we approach.
Yes.
In here it says that my client voluntarily took a polygraph test. Is that true?
Object to, no, sorry.
Yeah, this is a document I made it.
I just withdrew my objection.
He withdrew the objection.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I voluntarily took a polygraph test.
He was told to take the polygraph.
Object to hearsay.
Overruled.
So this statement is not true. He didn't voluntarily took it, did he?
He took it, but I was told to tell him.
Objection
Wasn't
hearsay.
voluntary, was it?
All right, so parties, when an objection is raised, if you all could stop asking questions and stop answering, and I'll make my ruling. The objection is overruled.
So he didn't take it voluntarily, did he?
Right, yes, sir.
He did or he did not?
Oh, he took it voluntary, yes.
Was he the one that says, I'm gonna take the polygraph test, or was it you who told him based on what?
I told him what Miss Cassiano told me. She said,
Object to hearsay.
Sustain as to what
Listen
the
to
other
what I
person said.
I voluntarily took a polygraph test.
so he wouldn't go take it, yes.
Was that his idea?
No.
At any point where you told that if he does a polygraph test, you'll get the kids back?
Object to hearsay.
Sustained,
Anybody made you any promise
Yes.
Object to hearsay.
overruled,
to get your children back?
Object to hearsay.
overruled.
Yes.
I want to ask you a very unfair question, but
Object to sidebar.
Sustained,
if you had to lie to get your children back, would you?
I'll do anything for my kids.
No further questions, Your Honor.
state,
Santa, how many times have you spoken with the defense attorney prior to coming today and testifying?
The defense attorney as to,
Mr. Baez over there.
maybe like 3 times.
3 times. And did you ever come to any of his pretrial settings?
What do you mean? Like the ones for Richard?
The court settings prior to this trial?
I think I came to 3 of them.
Okay, so did you talk to Mr. Baez at all 3 of those settings?
He really didn't talk to me. He talked to
Okay.
Richard.
So when and where did you talk to Mr. Baez?
Objection, Your Honor, as an answer.
overruled,
I'm sorry.
You may answer. When and where did you talk to Mr. Baez?
Here.
Here, I thought you said he didn't talk to you every time he came here.
No, I talked to him today.
And you
Here.
gotta slow down, please.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought you said you didn't talk to him when you came here.
Today. I spoke to
Okay,
him.
and what were the other 2 times?
I believe when he was trying to get the witnesses together. So
Okay.
all the family went.
And have you watched any of the proceedings on YouTube?
I'm sorry.
Have you watched any of this court's proceedings on YouTube?
I did for Tuesday, yes.
So you watched the proceedings of this court on Tuesday on YouTube?
Yeah, but I was told to get off, so
Okay. So you kind of already know what's been said in the courtroom then, right?
no, because I had to log off right away because the Mr. Bias told Richard to make sure that nobody get on the thing, so
Okay.
we did it.
And when Richard got out of jail in May of 2008, where did he go?
I'm sorry, say that again.
When Richard got out of jail in May of 2008, where did he go?
He went to his mom's house
Okay, how long was he at his mom's house?
for a while,
How long is a while?
about 3 months, 3-4 months.
Okay, a moment ago you said he moved back into your home with your children 6 or 7 months later.
Talking about the first time when CPS got involved.
I'm talking about, as I stated in my question, May of 2008 when he got out of jail.
Oh, because Richard went to jail the second time CPS got involved. That's my memory and dates and times, I don't know. But as far as like the second time CPS got involved, that's when he went to jail. The first time Richard got CPS, I did not get with Richard, back to Richard 6 to 7 months the first time. The second time he went to his mom's house when he got out of jail.
Was that the time in 2008?
I believe so.
Okay, so he goes to his mom's house and you said it was for 3 months, right?
Mhm.
And so after those 3 months, where does he go?
He comes back to our house, but
Okay.
not like live with us. He was visiting.
Did you know that there was a protective order in place prohibiting Richard from contacting Nina?
But Nina was not there.
Okay, so where was he living then?
He was, no, he wasn't living with us. He was still with his mom. He was under supervised vision.
I thought you said he was only there for 3 months.
No, he was living with his mom. We didn't get, in other words, we weren't living together. He was coming to being supervised by by me, either that or he had to be supervised by his mom if he was gonna see the kids.
So how long did he stay with his mom?
I really can't remember how long exactly at that, the second time when he came out of jail. I'm not just sure with his mom.
So the reference to 3 months was what then? When you said he stayed with his mom for 3 months, what were you referring to?
Because he went to go stay at a hotel.
Okay. And so when he was staying at the hotel, when did he move back in with the family?
I want to say November.
November of that same year.
I'm trying to think because I know it was a little bit after Thanksgiving.
Okay. And so he moved in November. Did you know that the case was still pending and there was still a no contact order prohibiting from contacting Nina?
For Nina, yes, but he was not seeing Nina. He was being supervised because they said that he could see his other children, but not Nina and Jacqueline. They
But
said
he
he
was-
could not see Nina or Jacqueline.
But you just said he was living back in the home.
In November, yes, because they had closed the case. They just sent me a letter.
Would it surprise you to learn that the case was still open in 2009 and wasn't closed out until well into 2009?
I'm telling, I don't know if it was, I got a letter, it was closed.
So you didn't know that he was violating the protective order while he was living with your house, did you?
I need one at a time, please.
I hadn't finished answering my question. Please wait till I finish answering my question before you give your answer.
Slow down, please.
Yes. So you didn't know that that he was violating the protective order while he was living with you in your house in the year 2008.
Okay, is that the first time when you're saying when he was when he went to jail, am I correct?
The time he went to jail in 2008.
That's not the first time. What you're saying when he went to jail,
No,
when was the first time CPS?
No, stop. There needs to be one question, then one answer. The court reporter cannot take down two people talking at the same time, and everybody needs to speak slower than what they're speaking. Ask your question.
in 2008, May of 2008, you told us that in May of 2008, he got out of jail. He stayed at his mother's house, he stayed at a hotel, and then he went back to your house in November of 2008. Were you aware that he was violating the protective order between him and Nina?
Is that, my question is to you, is that the first accusation that Nina made?
That's the first time CPS got involved, yes.
Okay, so correction, first time that CPS got involved, he did not go to jail, so it had to be the second time.
Okay,
That's not correct. The
okay.
first time CPS got involved, me and Richard did not get back together until 6 or 7 months later.
What year was the first year that CPS got involved?
I'm like I said, I don't remember the year, but I remember exactly because the first time he did not get arrested. The
All right.
second time he did.
So to be clear, the time that he got out of jail in May and had a pending case from the year 2008 into 2009, and he was prohibited from contacting Nina, you are telling this jury that he lived in the house and violated the protective order in late in the year 2008 going into 2009.
I will,
Ask and answer.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
he did come to the home. He was not living. Now, I was confused for the first time and the second time. When he got out of jail, he went and go live with his mom. Then he went and go get a hotel room because his mom, they were moving out of that home. He went and go live with his mom. CPS, I did get a hold of the CPS caseworker to see if he could see the two youngest ones as long as they were supervised. But Jacqueline and Nina could not be around. That was the situation on that. So he did come for Thanksgiving. So no, he was not back in the house in the second time like that. No, correction on that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was confused with the first and second.
Did you know that he confessed to touching Nina's vagina for sexual gratification?
I was told by Miss Castellano, yes.
And did you know that he said he was disgusted with himself?
No, I was not told that.
If you knew that he had admitted that to doing that to your daughter, why would you ever let him back in your home?
But I was not told that. You see, this is,
But hold on, you
Excuse
just,
One person at a time. The court reporter cannot take down two people talking at the same time.
okay, you just said that you did know that he confessed to touching Nina's vagina for sexual gratification. You told us that the CPS worker told you that. So if you knew that, why would you let him back in your house at all?
because throughout the whole, and when Richard was out of the home, there was things that was said And because I can't say hearsay, it's gonna be said hearsay, but what my child was telling me, and then I start finding evidence and stuff that she was bringing out to me.
But Richard himself confessed. Why would you question Richard's honesty when he confesses to something that is against his interest?
Because that's not Richard's cup of tea. I know Richard. Richard is not like that.
Mhm. And did you have an interview with the detective in the case in 2007?
What detective?
The detective that was investigating the case in 2007.
I just remember CPS workers. I don't remember
Right.
anybody.
Do you remember promising to protect Nina?
To the detective?
Yes.
Of course, I mean, I don't know if it was a detective, but I know, I mean, I always tell how to protect my children.
And so you say Richard's a good person,
Yes.
and was he a good father?
Once CPS got involved the first time, it was a wake-up call for him. And he started trying to treat the girls differently. We were taking classes. We started taking family unit classes for divided households where he's not the biological father, so they try to get for step families. So there was a program that we got ourselves into. So he started doing that.
And do good fathers want nothing to do with their children?
Well, in the beginning, he wasn't trying to be a father. He was young. You gotta understand the time frame.
Would it surprise you if in the year 2019, he told a detective he wanted nothing to do with those children?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained.
And would it surprise you that the detective came into court today and said on the witness stand that he wanted nothing to do with these children?
Objection, Your Honor, improper impeachment.
Sustained.
And you said that you texted Nina on August 1st, but she never responded.
Yes.
Why'd you block her then?
Wouldn't that be hearsay from her?
No. Why did you block Nina?
I did not block Nina. I have text messages. The last text message I texted her, "Are you okay? I haven't heard from you."
So would you be surprised to learn Nina said that you blocked her?
I wouldn't be surprised.
And you said that Richard had always been there for Nina. When someone is there for someone, do they want nothing to do with that person?
In the beginning, he didn't want nothing to do with my children. I could say that he was distant, but he was friends. He wasn't like trying to be their dad. We weren't established like we're gonna be a family. So it wasn't like, oh wow, we're gonna get married, we're gonna be whatever. But as far as like later on down the line, once, like I said, CPS got involved the first time, it was a wake-up call, like this is something I have to change my viewpoint.
So do good fathers need CPS to tell them how to be good fathers?
Some people do, some people don't.
Okay, and you said the detective only called you and you never really got to talk to him. Would you be surprised if the detective said that he tried to call you back and you ignored his calls?
Objection, Your Honor, improper impeachment evidence.
Sustained.
And you talked about the state removing the kids the first time. You said the state removed the kids. Who from the state came and took the kids from your house?
I do not know. This is what I can only tell you what I remember is when Nina told me this on Friday. Oh, it was a Friday from school. On Saturday, I received a phone call from my sister because I took the kids to daycare. On Saturday morning, she called me around 10 o'clock and she says, "Hey," she goes, "we're here. Mom's taking the kids. CPS called." And I told my sister, "Are you joking?" And then she goes, "No." She goes, "Mom has the kids." And she goes, "You need to call CPS."
So you just said that your mom took the kids, not anyone from the state.
No, the CPS told my mom, they called my mom if she was willing to take the children.
So they just asked if she was willing and she did. I'm still missing where they physically took the kids from you.
I don't know, I wasn't there.
Okay.
I was at work.
So when you were answering that question, you were answering without any personal knowledge.
Yeah, I wasn't there when they took my kids.
Thank you. You said that they were never by themselves. But wasn't there a time when you had a knee injury and you had to go to the hospital? Were they not by themselves that time?
When I fell and
Mhm.
shattered my kneecap.
Yeah.
I was there, my kids, Richard was at work. He lived with his mom. It was on Gus Garcia. And I shattered my kneecap and I had told Nina to call Richard to please call from my cell phone because my leg was all the way back. And I told Jackie to call 911 from the house line. Richard came, went with me to the hospital. The ambulance got there and my sisters and all them, they all went to the hospital.
And you said there were no charges filed against your husband.
Correct.
But what about the case in 2007? Do you not recall when he was indicted and charged with crimes?
Yes, and then I was told later on, the third time CPS got involved, because I told them like what had happened. And they say, do you realize that every statement that she makes is the same one that goes back?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. You can answer.
They told me that it's the same accusation she made from the very first accusation. That,
Right.
so I thought every accusation that she made was a different one, like in other words, he tried every time a different time. And they said, no, it goes back to the first accusation.
And the first one, the one where she was bribed with Hannah Montana toys to change her
No.
story, right?
No, she was molested.
Was it the second time when she was bribed with Hannah Montana toys to change her story?
I never bought her Hannah Montana. That was my sister's.
Your sisters bought her Hannah Montana?
Yes.
Did the defendant's mom ever buy her Hannah Montana toys?
She bought her a blouse.
And did you ever tell her that if she continued to make these allegations against Richard, her siblings would grow up without a father?
No, I did not tell her that.
And did you ever take her with you to a bond attorney near the jail before bonding out?
I took all my children because there was no one in to watch my children. I always had my kids.
Did you make a video of her recanting her allegations on one of those trips?
No, no, Scott Martinez, the lawyer at the time, he says, well, because Nina said, I never said those things. And Scott Martinez said, well, would you be comfortable if we could report you saying that? And then she said, yeah, I can. So that was, the video was made. But it was never used, not to my knowledge.
Why did you pressure her to do that?
I did not pressure her to do anything. Nina is not one to be pressured. Nina does what she wants to do.
When the defendant was living with his grandmother, was he supporting you financially? Or with his mother, sorry?
Was he supporting me financially?
Yes.
He was helping with the kids, yes.
And I'm gonna object, this is beyond the scope. Data reclose.
All right, that will be overruled. You can answer that question.
Yes, he was helping with his children.
Okay. And didn't you tell CPS that part of your motivation for keeping him around was financial support?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I was a breadwinner.
Excuse me. That's okay. That'll be overruled. You can answer the question.
I was actually working, so I never depended on anybody's, not even Nina's father or Richard's money. I worked.
Okay, so you didn't tell CPS that he was supporting you financially during
They
this time?
asked me a question if Richard was supporting that. Well, yes, he does support me.
Okay, so you're changing your answer to yes, he does.
He supported the children. Yes, they asked if he was giving any financial money.
Okay. No further questions.
Defense?
Your Honor,
Yes.
do you have that phone? Where you said
Yes.
you had the text messages?
Yes.
Can you pull it out? Have you blocked your daughter?
No.
And that's the text, right?
Yes, I have different numbers from her. She does not, at the time, Nina did not have different, she never had the same number.
A question is, have you blocked your daughter?
No, I have not.
No further questions, John.
State?
Is it possible to block someone and then unblock them?
Yes,
All right. And did you block your daughter and unblock her?
no, I would not do that.
And not even when she's making up false allegations?
I didn't know she was making false allegations.
But isn't that what you've been trying to say here this whole time?
No, not the 2019 allegations. We have been talking since the day they found her. I've been helping her from that point on. And she stopped texting me because of another reason from with the girl that she was with. But no, I did not block my daughter.
No further questions.
Nothing further from the defense,
All
John.
right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Nothing from the defense, John.
Excuse from the state.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You cannot discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Defense, you can call your next witness. All right, everyone, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to take a short break. Court reporter has been typing a lot. So I'm gonna have you all back at 4:25. All right, and remember my previous instructions. All right, everyone, please rise. All right, defense, call your next witness.
Your Honor, the defense called Jacqueline Sanchez.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're okay with finishing this up today, or do you want to break at 5?
I only want to finish today.
Finishing up.
Okay. Wait, finishing that. Oh, with both sides finishing their cases. I'll let you all talk about it. Oh, okay. We'll take a break so you can talk about it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record, please.
Jacqueline Sanchez.
Thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Sanchez, how are you related to my client?
He's my stepdad.
And how are you related to Nina?
She's my sister,
Is she your half sister, full sister?
full sister.
So your father and mother are the same.
Yes.
Okay? Can you tell the jury if you remember how many years you and your father and your mother lived together?
My bio father or
Your biological father?
I don't remember, but it wasn't a long time. I don't believe so.
So is it fair to say that you remember him more as a father than your actual father
Yes,
in the house?
in the house. Yes.
Is there any time while you were living with my client in the household that you plan to get back at him?
Yes.
How so?
It would just be different plans. Me and Nina would come up with stuff to get him out of the house, whether it was making our parents argue or just things around like that, just to get him out of the house. We didn't want him in there.
Why?
It was more so that me and my sister, I wouldn't say bad, but we would do a lot of stuff that he would catch on to that we could trick my mom. My mom wouldn't really catch on, and he did, so we didn't like that he knew what we were doing.
I want you to look at the members of the jury and tell them, has it ever been a time in which my client touched you inappropriately?
No, he's never touched me.
Has he ever had sex with you?
No, he's never had sex with me.
Has he had any inclination to touch you or grope you or anything?
No, not at all.
But somebody in your family has, hasn't it?
Yes,
Who's that?
my sister, Nina.
What has she done?
Objection, relevance?
Overruled.
The first attempt was when she wasn't really allowed to go to like sleepovers unless I went with her. So that night, actually, we had came back from watching Hannah Montana with her friends, and she was exploring her sexuality and stuff like that. So she touched me on my vagina. I had,
Objection, Your Honor, under Rule 412. And the evidence is more prejudicial than probative.
That'd be almost.
I can go ahead and talk? Okay. She touched me in my vagina while I still had clothes on. And then her friends wanted to join, so she let them join and she stepped out of the room. The second time is when we would play house. She kind of did the same thing, would just touch me in my private area, and would grope me, and that's about it.
Did you question her why she did that?
No, I didn't question her. I went along with it.
Why not?
I mean, I was little. I really didn't know. The only time I questioned her is why she let her friends do it to me. And there was no response. She didn't tell me. She just told me to get over it.
How old was Nina, if you remember?
She was like 11, 12, around there. I'm not
And
sure.
how old were you?
Around 8 or 9.
Had Nina ever asked you to lie about my client?
Yes,
And you know Nina more than most people, I'm assuming.
yes,
Do you know her to lie?
yes. We lied together, actually.
But you've never lied about him touching you sexually, have you?
No,
Why not?
because it wasn't right. Like I said, we would come up with a bunch of stuff to get rid of him, but when it went to the extent of him touching her and stuff, I backed out, and I'm the one who obviously told my mom about it because I knew it wasn't right.
Did you believe your sister at that time?
The very first time, yes, I did believe her because she had when we were, like I said, when we would plan it, she never told me about that specific plan until when she told my grandmother, I told my mom, and my sister told me weeks later to go along with it because she's trying to get him out of the house.
Objection to hearsay, Your Honor.
So she's telling you to go along with her,
Yes,
to frame her for sexual accusations.
Objection to hearsay.
Did you tell this to your mom?
I didn't, I told her, I'm trying to remember. I remember telling her when CPS got involved. I even told the lady who interviewed me that this wasn't true.
Ms. Campbell?
I believe so, yes. I told her it was not true. My sister was lying.
And she ignored you?
She ignored me.
So has this happened multiple times? Did Nina try to accuse him of sexual accusations?
Yes,
And do you know whether the state finds that it's true or untrue?
Objection, lack of personal knowledge.
Why are you here testifying on behalf of my client?
because it's not right. And out of everybody, I know my sister. I was close to her. She was somebody that I looked up to. And growing in somebody's life over this is not it. I do agree to a certain extent that he did treat us differently, but it was never abusive. It was never anything of that sort.
Speaking of abuse, your sister stated that she friendly did a sister in rivalry. Is that true?
No.
What did she used to do to you?
Being the little sister that I would steal her stuff, like her lip gloss and stuff, because like I said, I wanted to be her. And every time she found out, she would choke me or hit me, and it was never in a friendly way. I was gasping for air. I called for help, and she told me if I ever told anybody that she would hit me, she would kill me. Those were her words. And just little things like if I liked something she liked, she would hit me for it, not with just her hands, with hangers and stuff like that.
Was your room and her room the same?
Yes.
In fact, you used to sleep in the same little bed, right?
Yes, we shared a room.
What kind of bed was it?
I don't remember it. I know we had a twin, and then we had a full size, I believe.
Tiny little bed.
Yeah, it was tiny.
At any time did you see my client going naked into the room?
No.
At any time was my client naked in front of you or her?
No.
At any time did my client carry her into her room from your room?
No.
At any time did you see any blood around your bed?
No.
At any time did she tell you that she lost her virginity to him?
No.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
So again, why are you here telling this jury this?
Because it's not right, and I'm not gonna stand by my sister when she's lying. I've stand by her so many times for other things, but I'm not ruining somebody's life for her.
No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor. Jacqueline, are you aware that, actually, are you aware that these proceedings are recorded and streamed via YouTube?
Mhm.
And have you watched these proceedings prior to YouTube?
No.
Where, prior to you testifying today, where were you seated?
Where was I seated?
Where were you waiting for your turn to
Over
testify?
here,
Over where?
sitting on the bench, like by the door.
And how many people were sitting around you?
It was my brother and his girlfriend.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Approaching the court?
Yes.
No? You can continue to ask your questions.
Okay. And were any of the other individuals that you were seated with watching YouTube?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure,
Probably my brother's girlfriend. That's about it, but she's not testifying today.
but she was seated near you.
Yes, but I didn't have, she had her AirPods in, so I wasn't paying attention
So how do you know that she was watching YouTube?
because I know how the judge looks and I looked over and that's who she was watching, but I didn't have her AirPods in. I was on my phone. So
Now, are you aware that the defendant signed a confession stating that he touched
Yes.
Nina on her vagina?
I am.
And are you aware that in that confession, he stated that he was disgusted with himself?
Mhm.
Okay. Why would he sign that if it wasn't true?
Objection, Your Honor, speculative.
Sustained.
You have two younger siblings that are who Richard fathered, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Did he treat them differently than you and Nina?
Yes,
In what ways?
just in affectionate ways. Like I said in the beginning, it was just, we weren't his kids. It wasn't any like, oh, get away from me or abusive or anything. It was just different.
Would he give his kids things that he wouldn't give you and Nina?
Yes,
Like what?
just toys and stuff like that.
Did he ever keep anything from you that he would give to his kids?
Like anything in general.
Yes.
No.
Now, you said that Nina would physically abuse you, is that right? Did you go to therapy for that?
Yep, several times.
And were you treated for that?
Yeah, I was.
And do those sound like things that would be cured by Nina getting her own room?
Yeah, that you would think so. Actually, you would. But it didn't turn out like that. She got her own room at Piper's Lane because she was hitting me, but the hitting still continued. So
Did you ever say anything about those later instances?
like I said,
Can you please speak one at a time, please?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Did you ever say anything about those later instances?
I did, but I never made a huge complaint about it. Like I said, I never snitched on my sister or anything. We were really close.
But you did snitch on her from the previous instances.
Well, technically, no, actually, no, that is incorrect. My little siblings did. I never said anything about my sister.
Now, with these allegations, isn't it true that that you were the first person that Nina told?
Yep.
Okay. And
Oh,
did you tell your mother?
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I overheard, the first person she told was my grandmother and my aunt. I heard and I wrote a note to my mom about it.
And you wrote a note to your mother about what Nina said?
Yes,
Do you remember the morning when Nina woke up with her pants unzipped?
that never happened.
That never happened?
Never happened. And the only reason why I know that is because we talked about it the night before. And she said, oh my God, wouldn't it be so funny if my pants were unzipped in the morning? And we laughed it off. That's what happened. So
So even though you're stating here, even though the defendant confessed, you're stating that that touching never happened.
never happened. And I can assure you never happened.
Do you confess to things that you've never done before?
All the time. I mean, now that I'm older, I confess everything I've done.
Do you confess to criminal actions that you've never done before?
I don't think I've ever done anything that would, any criminal things.
if somebody said, for instance, said that you touched a minor, would you confess to that if you hadn't?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. And our situation is different.
What's different about your situation?
As far as the confession,
No, my question to you is, would you confess to touching a minor if you had never touched a minor?
this depends.
On what?
It just depends. Like, I don't understand the question. Like, okay, so then, you know what? No, the answer is no.
So you wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Do you love Richard?
Yes.
Okay. Would you do anything to protect him?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay. Would you lie in court in order to protect him?
No. I'm not lying for my own sister. I wouldn't lie for him.
So that doesn't depend on anything.
I guess not.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Jacqueline, the prosecutor spent some time perhaps trying to confuse you in relation to whether a person will
Objection
make,
to sidebar, Your Honor.
All right, that will be sustained.
whether you will make a confession. Remember that.
Objection, same objection to sidebar, Your Honor.
Overruled.
If your children's returning home was depending on that, would you lie?
Yes.
So in other words, it's nothing unusual that my client supposedly confessed to get the children back, is it?
Mhm.
And do you believe that that's what happened here?
Yes.
So he confessed in order for him to get the children back,
Yes.
not because anything happened sexually.
Yes.
And you can assure this jury this because,
Because I remember everything that happened that night. We were all at, me and my siblings were all at my grandma's house and we were crying. And I remember the CPS lady. It was a CPS lady and just a bunch of other people were telling him that my mom, if they want the kids back, he has to make some sort of confession. And that's what he did.
I have no further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor. Did you ever make a police report about Nina?
No.
Does it make sense that confessing to touching a child would return your children back to your home? Does it make sense to you, is my question.
I can't really answer that. I was little when it happened. So when I was little, I thought you do anything for your kids. So yeah.
Well, no, I'm asking you now, today, as you sit on that stand, does it make sense to you that confessing to touching a child inappropriately, sexually, would result in getting your children back into your home?
Yes, I would, because that's what happened in our situation.
And that makes sense to you?
That makes sense to me.
And defense asked you, would you admit to it knowing they would get your children back? Is that right? And you said you would. Okay. So you would lie for your personal gain?
I mean, I don't have kids.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right.
Nothing for the defense, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. That means you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys with the state of the defense. Do you understand? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Defense, call your next witness.
Now, the defense. The defense calls Anthony Thomas.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, and make sure you keep your voice up so that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can hear.
Anthony Thomas.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Anthony, how are you related to my client?
That's my dad.
Is that your, Santa, is that your mother?
Yes.
So Santa and Richard are your parents,
Yes, sir.
your biological parents.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any step parents?
No, sir.
Okay. Does Nina have step parents?
Yes, sir.
Who would that be?
My dad.
And in the years, have you gotten to know Nina?
Yes.
Is there anything that you can tell this jury of an incident between Nina and your sister Jacqueline?
Yeah, Nina will choke Jacqueline.
And you witnessed this?
Yes, I did.
Was it sisterly rivalry?
No.
What would you consider that?
Abusive.
Did you tell anyone?
I told my mom, yes.
And what happened?
My mom went in the room where the girls were at and she stopped Nina from choking Jacqueline.
Okay. And you heard about the accusations that Nina had made against your father.
Yes, sir.
How does that make you feel?
I guess sad,
Why?
angry,
Why?
because it's not true and he has to be going through this.
How can you tell that to the jury that this is not true?
Because we were all there and it doesn't make sense. Nina lies.
Do you know her to lie a lot?
Yes.
But why?
I don't know. Can't answer that for her.
Do you love Nina?
Yes.
Would you take her back into the household?
Yeah, I would. It's my sister.
Even though she's accusing your father?
Yeah, it's my sister.
How does that make you feel?
What do you mean?
The wedge that have been created.
Object to relevance.
Overruled.
Makes me feel a certain way, but you know, that's my sister.
Let me ask you a question. Do you blame your father or you blame your sister?
Blame my sister.
Why?
Because none of it's true and she's lying. And
No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
State.
Are you aware that these proceedings are broadcast on YouTube?
Oh, yes, sir.
And have you watched any of these proceedings?
No, sir.
Has your girlfriend watched any of these proceedings?
I believe so.
Where did she watch them?
She was sitting down over there on the bench.
Were you sitting with her?
I was walking back and forth.
Does
I
someone
was
object to
pasting.
relevance?
Overruled.
I was pasting.
Okay, so if a witness said they saw you watching the video with your girlfriend, that's a lie?
Yes,
Okay,
because I was pasting back and forth.
okay. And have you ever watched the proceedings
No, sir.
yesterday?
No, sir.
And how old were you in the year 2006?
I believe 2.
2 years old. So with regard to the accusations, did you know that one of the accusations was in 2006?
I was a kid. So
Okay, but did you know that?
yes, I did.
Okay, and so you just said that you know he didn't do it because we were all there and you knew that. So at 2 years old, were you observing things? And
I was
And-
a kid. I was
yeah.
a baby.
so how much do you know about what happened when you were 2 years old?
Not that much. I'm a baby at that age.
Okay, so you don't know anything about the accusations that,
Not around that year. No.
can you please allow me to finish my question?
Mhm.
Okay, so you don't know anything about the accusations that Richard admitted to doing, right?
Yes. At that year, yeah.
Okay, did you know that he admitted to touching Nina's vagina for the purpose of sexual gratification?
Later on, I did. Yes.
Okay, and if someone accused you of touching a child inappropriately, would you admit to doing it if you didn't do it?
No.
Okay. And if someone is sexually abused and that person goes on to hit their sibling, should we ignore the sexual abuse because they hit their sibling?
What do you mean?
If someone is sexually abused and that person who is sexually abused then hits their sibling on a later date, should we ignore the sexual abuse because they hit their sibling?
No.
Okay. And do you believe your sister's making false accusations?
Nina?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
And you said you would like her back in the home.
Yeah, it's my sister.
Why do you want someone who's going to make false accusations back
No
in the
matter
home?
what, that's my sister.
Okay. No further questions.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
When were you born?
2004, January 24th.
In 2011, how old were you?
I believe 8, 9, around that
In
age.
2012, how old were you?
Probably 8,
About 10?
10, yeah.
Is this the time in which you?
You object to leading?
Overruled.
Ask the question.
He just led his witness and gave him the answer.
Ask your question.
Is this the time in which you're referring based on his question in relation that you were all there?
Yes,
Now, you were a little older by that time.
yes, sir.
And Nina kept making accusations, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
This is not just one instance. This is several instances, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just to be fair, to be clear, Nina is lying,
Yes, sir.
and you can tell, and look at the jury and tell them that.
Yes, she's lying.
Object to improper impeachment and improper and usurping the jury's duty to determine the credibility of a witness.
All right, that'll be sustained.
So you love your dad, right?
Yes, sir.
And you do anything for him to protect him?
To a certain extent, yes.
Would you lie for him?
No.
Okay. Do you think it was okay for him to lie? You think he was lying when he gave his confession, right?
Yes.
Do you think that's okay to lie for personal gain?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Do you know why he confessed?
Yes, so he could get his kids back.
And so he lied for personal gain, right?
Yes.
Do you think it's okay to lie when it's for personal gain?
Certain scenarios, yes.
And so you do think that in some scenarios you should lie for personal gain?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions.
Any other questions?
And I know you don't have any children, but if children were taken away by the state, would you like to get them back?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does it make sense that if somebody said they sexually abused a child, they would get the custody of that child back?
Yes and no.
Well, why would that make sense that a sexual abuser would get custody of the child they sexually abuse?
Like I said, certain scenarios.
What scenarios would be a good scenario to put a child in the custody of their sexual abuser?
No.
Okay, so there's no scenarios you can think of.
Not right now.
Okay, no further questions.
No further questions to this witness, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused?
Excuse from the state.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means, you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down. Defense?
Your Honor, this time we're gonna call Grace Martinez. This is the one on Zoom.
Okay. All right, we'll give you the Zoom link. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a witness that both the state and the defense agreed, because they could not be here, that they would be allowed to testify by Zoom. So you'll be able to see them on your screen. And sometimes things are not as loud as they should be on Zoom. So if there's at any time where you can't hear what the witness is saying, just let me know, or just raise your hand.
Waste.
Does he have an email or something?
I do, yes.
Do they have an email?
Yes.
All right. State, do you have any, if you all could come forward? If you'll write the email.
Hope you can read my tickets direction. I am after all.
Checks for the Zoom link as well, you can.
I did it all. They're ready to go. It has been texted, it doesn't divide it properly, so I'm hoping that she understands. During the meantime, just for experience, I can call the other witness.
All right, if you would do that.
Okay. So the defense called Denise Thomas.
Can you raise your right hand? Solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand and state your name for the record, please.
Denise Thomas?
Defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. How are you related to my client?
He's my father?
Is he your biological father?
Yes.
And is Santa your biological mother?
Yes.
And so you don't have any step parents?
No.
Does Nina have step parents?
Yes, her stepfather, or my father, I'm sorry.
So she has a father, and this is her stepfather.
Yes.
Can you describe your relationship between you and Nina?
When I was younger, me and her used to be close.
And what happened?
She left home. We lost contact with her.
When did she leave? You remember?
I don't remember. I was a kid.
Okay. Is there an instance in which you witnessed Nina doing something to Jackie?
Yes.
What is?
She used to choke Jackie really bad.
You said she used to choke? Did it
Yes.
happen more than once?
Yes.
And did you know why she would do that?
One time, I think it was for no reason.
Object for speculation.
Only if you know. Don't answer if you think. It's only if you know. Did she ever tell you?
Object to speculation. The witness just said she doesn't know why.
You can answer the question if she ever told you.
No, she never told me.
Okay. But you witnessed it with your 2 eyes.
Yes.
And was that a friendly, sisterly dispute?
No.
What would you consider that?
More like trying to kill her.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
More like if she was trying to hurt her and kill her in a way.
But these are sisters.
Mhm.
Was that typical?
So, yes.
How did that make you feel?
Object to relevance.
Sustained.
Do you believe that the family has been split?
Object to speculation and relevance.
Overruled.
What do you mean?
Has there been a division in the family?
Between Nina and our family?
In the family?
Yes.
What do you believe that caused that division?
Nina.
Speculation.
Overruled.
Do you believe that my client caused that division?
No.
Do you even know what we're here?
Yes.
Tell the members of the jury, what do you think that we're here?
That my sister accused my dad of molestation and rape, something that he never did.
And how can you be so sure?
Because Nina has lied before multiple times.
Object to improper impeachment and usurping the role of the jury to determine the credibility.
Sustained with regards to improper impeachment.
Yeah, may I approach?
Yes.
I apologize. This is controversial.
Okay.
I wrote it wrong.
All right.
Chicken French.
Ladies and, we're off the record. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the email address for the witness who's supposed to appear by Zoom. It was given to me incorrectly, so it kept kicking it back. All right, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. If you were to convey a message to the jury about your sister, what would it be?
About Nina?
Yes.
Nina's lied before multiple times.
Object to improper impeachment.
Sustained.
Was she a good sister to you?
Yes.
Did she ever do anything inappropriate to you?
No, sir.
Has your father ever done anything inappropriate to you?
No, sir.
Have you ever witnessed your father naked?
No.
Has he ever walked around the house naked?
No.
Have you ever seen your father grabbing Nina as she was naked?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen your father grabbing Nina, carrying her to his room?
No, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
State.
Are you aware that the proceedings in this court are broadcast on YouTube?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and have you watched any of these proceedings?
No.
Okay, have you seen other people watching the proceedings?
No, I don't think so.
So where were you waiting when you were about to testify?
Where my brother and sister are at, I'm on the opposite.
Okay, so they weren't watching the proceedings on YouTube out there? Nobody was?
No, I think my brother's girlfriend was. I'm sorry.
Okay, and was your brother watching with his girlfriend?
No,
Okay, and do you know why Nino left the home?
no, at the time I didn't know.
Okay, and did she ever assault you?
No,
Did she ever assault any other siblings?
just Jackie.
Okay, so she's a violent person, but only towards Jackie.
Yes.
Okay, and so she never assaulted anyone at school?
Oh, I didn't know I was a kid.
Okay, and so if somebody is sexually abused as a child,
Mhm.
and that child goes on to assault somebody else, should that sexual abuse be ignored?
No,
Okay, and how old were you in the year 2006?
2006.
Yes.
I was born in 2005, so I was a year.
Okay, so you don't recall anything related to an allegation in 2006?
No,
Okay, and are you aware that your dad admitted to and confessed and signed a confession to molesting Nina and touching her vagina for sexual gratification? Did you know that he signed that?
not at that time, but years past, yes, I did.
Okay, so you know that he's admitted to sexually abusing Nina.
From that paper, yes, I know because he wrote what he wrote.
Did your mom show you that paper?
No,
Who showed it to you?
no, and my mom told me what would happen because I asked what happened between Nina and my dad, and my mom.
So your mom knew about the contents of that
What do you
paper,
mean?
of that confession that we're discussing? The
Yes.
one where it says he sexually abused Nina
Yes.
and he admitted to it. And so you're saying now that your mom provided that to you?
No, she
Or-
didn't have the paper. She just said that what they told her.
Okay, all right, I see. And your mom told you that and when?
When I was, I want to say 13.
What did you think of your father when you learned that he admitted to touching Nina in that way?
I didn't believe it because I know my dad never has done that before. And Nina, of course, I knew Nina for a long time, so I knew she has lied before. So my dad's never done that, and I didn't believe it.
And if you were accused of sexually abusing a minor, and would you admit to doing it if you didn't do it?
It depends on what was like. I wouldn't admit to it, but I know why my dad admitted to it.
Why did your dad admit to it?
Because of what they told him to do.
Who told him?
I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember what they're called.
Would it be surprised if it was your mom who told him to go ahead and do the polygraph?
I believe someone told her to tell him that.
Mhm. But you don't know who told him?
No, I do not know. sir.
Okay. And we talked about the family split? How does the family split? Where does that split divide the family? Who's on Nina's side? What part of the family is on Nina's side?
I do not know. I do not keep contact with Nina. I don't know who's on her
Okay.
side.
But you would know which family members you lost and went over to Nina, right?
Everybody that I've known stick together except Nina.
Okay, so there was a family split away from Nina.
Yes, because she chose that.
Okay, so it's all Nina's fault.
Well, that was her choice.
It was her choice to get abused by your father.
No, it was a choice for her to leave and not to keep contact with us.
If you had somebody abusing you sexually, would you stay in the home or would you want to leave too?
Well, I will go to my mother and tell her and see what happens there.
What if your mother protects the abuser and tells you that you
That's
need
a
to?
different case.
Okay, so if that were happening, you would want to leave the home.
Not by myself. I would want to go to another family member's house.
What if the whole family is shunning you and there's no family that supports you anymore? They're all
Then,
supporting the
of course
abuser.
Of course, you.
Please stop talking over each other. Please.
So what if your whole family has shunned you? Would you still be able to stay with the family member then?
No, I would try to. I would try to. I would call the cops on this.
Okay, and do you love your father?
Yes,
And would you do anything to protect him?
of course.
Would that include lying for him?
No, I would never lie. If I
Okay.
know what's the truth, I would never lie.
Do you think it's wrong to lie for personal gain?
Excuse me?
Do you think it's wrong for a person to lie for personal gain?
It depends.
It depends.
Yes.
So how about on a witness stand in a courtroom?
I would never lie. No.
How about if you're lying to saying you molested someone but you didn't?
What do you mean?
Is it okay to lie to an investigator in the course of an investigation if it helps you?
It helps me if I don't know.
Okay. All right. No further questions.
The prosecutor is spending some time to try to tell
Object to
you that
sidebar.
Sustained.
my client has some personal
Object to
gain.
sidebar.
All right, so one person speaks at a time. You can ask your question, and then I will hear objections, and I will make a ruling.
Where is there any personal gain in being here charged with molesting your children? Is there a personal gain with that?
No.
Why did you say he lied again?
I'm sorry, it's my
Okay.
turn. Please explain this as I'm a 5-year-old because I don't understand. What is the personal
Object to
gain,
sidebar.
if any?
No.
Would you lie to get your children back?
Yes, I would.
And do you believe that's what happened here?
Yes.
And Nina chose to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
She chose not to come back, did she?
Yes, that is true.
Again, time and time again, you're told Nina has been abused. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe that.
And this is what you're telling the jury.
Yes.
This is why you're standing here telling the jury what you believe.
Yes.
Do you believe that my client is capable of doing what Nina accused him of?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
If he lied to get his children back, wouldn't that be personal gain, getting the children back?
Yes, that is.
Okay, no further questions.
Personal gain with consequences, criminal consequences.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Only if you love your children so much.
Yes.
Only if you love your spouse so much.
Mhm.
No further questions.
No further questions.
Is this witness excused?
From the state, yes.
It is from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
Counsel, your witness is on the Zoom.
Yes, Your Honor. Can we call her Grace Martinez?
Ms. Martinez, if you'll start your video, please. And if you will unmute yourself. All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I affirm.
You can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Grace Martinez?
Any objection to this witness appearing by Zoom? State.
Your Honor, we just ask that the court admonish the witness to not have papers, reports, or any other person in the room while she's.
Any objection to the witness
No
appearing by Zoom?
No objection.
Defense, any
No
objection to
objection,
having this
Your Honor.
witness by Zoom? Mr. Thomas, any objections to this witness appearing by Zoom?
No.
All right, defense, it's your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Martinez, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. How come you're not in the courtroom today?
Because I tested with COVID, positive for COVID.
Now, you haven't exposed anybody, have you?
No, not this week. I just got my results yesterday.
What is your relationship with my client?
My relationship, he's my brother-in-law.
Okay? And have you gotten to know him?
Yes, very well.
Before the prosecution asked you, would you lie for him?
No, I would not lie for him.
Tell the members of the jury a little bit about Nina.
My niece, Nina Sanchez, she's, I love my niece very much, but I know her very well, and she can lie. She can,
Just one moment.
She-
Excuse me, Ms. Martinez, just 1 second. I
yes,
don't know if you can hear it or not, but the state has just made an objection.
okay,
When an objection is made, I'm going to need you to stop talking and I'll make a ruling on it.
okay, sure, I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time hearing,
No problem.
just that through.
State, you need to speak into the microphone.
Yes, Your Honor. State objection to improper impeachment.
All right, that'll be sustained.
You know, just so I have clarification, who's cross-examining, because I believe both of them have made.
I may be on the
Okay, all right.
All right, who's going to be questioning the witness? All right.
When was the first time that Nina came to live with you?
Dina was about, let's see, she was, it's been so long, I'm sorry, it's just like maybe 5, 7, 6 years old when she came live with me.
That was the first time.
Yes, that was the first time. She lived with me for a year. Mhm.
And during that time, did you notice anything strange about Nina?
She did. There were things that she would do, and she would, for instance, she would, when, at the time when I needed someone to watch her, my in-laws were the ones that would take care of her, so we would have some issues with her. She rode, we had this one incident where, she rode on his car, on my father-in-law's truck, and, and they came and told us. So we were just, oh, okay. So when they told us, we kind of, they showed us and we did see it. And so those were the incidents that first incident that we had with her.
Did Nina deny that happening?
Yes, she did. Uh-huh.
So in essence, she lied.
Objection.
Yes.
Sustained. All right, when an objection is raised, I'm going to need you to stop speaking. I know it's hard for you to hear. Attorneys,
Yes, ma'am.
please speak into the microphone.
Yes, Your Honor.
The objection will be sustained.
How many times has Nina stayed with you?
Nina stayed with me quite a few times. She's always either been, when she lived with me after a year, she was always either spending the weekend with me, or when they were on vacation, she was with school. When they were out of school, she was living with me. She was staying with me as well.
Would you run away from her house?
Which, I'm sorry, what was that question again?
Nina, would Nina run away from her house?
From my house or her house?
From her house, her house.
Objection to lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled. You can answer the question if you know.
If she tried to run away from her house, yes, she did.
Do you know about how many times?
That I'm aware of, she did it quite a few times. She
Okay.
even tried to run away from my house one time.
Okay. And did you try to stop her?
Yes, that I tried to stop her from running away. Never gave me just asking her why, and but at the time that she would tell me, she says, "Oh no, I wasn't running away. I was just trying to. I was looking in my backpack, and I was just I was looking for something." That's what she told me.
Okay. And so, do you know why my client is here in front of a jury facing charges?
Yes,
And do you believe the accusations?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
I don't believe.
Stop.
So, I'm sorry.
I've sustained the objection, so that means you're
Okay.
not allowed to answer.
Okay, sorry.
Do you have any reason to think that my client will molest his children?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
You can answer that one, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. No, I don't believe that he would hurt his children or try to do any harm to them. He's
Is
been
it-
a loving father.
Is it possible for a father, when pressured, to lie about something that he did to gain his children back?
It would. They would do anything, just like I'm just gonna bring the part of the Bible where they brought out the two mothers. One was trying to say she was a mother, and
Objection,
they were
negative, Your Honor.
Sorry. Sustained.
Okay. So,
continue.
no. So then it's reasonable for a person to lie to get the children back.
They would not lie they would do anything to get their children back.
For example, to confess to some kind of sexual assault.
To confess to a sexual assault, I don't, I'm not in that situation. I know that it's something that, if he loves his children, he loved his wife, and he didn't want any of them to be taken away from her, because that's my sister.
No further questions from the witness, Your Honor.
State.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Martinez, you previously said that people would do anything for their children, correct?
Correct.
And would you do anything for your children?
I think anybody would do anything for their children today. The only thing is when it comes to the, I'm sorry, the, not to the point of doing something wrong, you wouldn't want to do that.
Okay, so let me ask you, would you confess to sexually assaulting a minor if you had not done that in order to get your children back?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Would you confess to sexually assaulting a minor to get your children back, even if you had not done that?
If I hadn't, I wouldn't, I mean, I know they said he did it in writing, but it's not something that
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's just a yes or no question.
Okay, no, I mean, I would do to the point that whatever it takes to do for my children, but not lie.
Okay. And ma'am, does it make sense to you that confessing to sexually abusing a minor who's under your care would result in getting them back under your care?
Well, no, because things just don't turn out well.
And now, are you aware of the allegations against Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And how did you become aware of those allegations?
When my niece well, when first it was Child Protective Services.
Hmm.
And when Child Protective Services came along, I know that my niece, she confessed to me at one point that when that had happened, she had, we were at a store one time, me and my niece at that time. And then she had told me that, she was, aunt, well, tia, she said tia, but meaning aunt. And she tells me I need, a pregnancy test. And I told her, and I turned around and I was just shocked. I was like, what? And she told me, and I said, are you kidding me? She goes, what do you mean? And I took it seriously because I was just like, no, I said, what do you mean? You have to explain to me. And she says, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you. She goes, I have to, she goes, in order for you to be, she goes, for you to take a pregnancy test, you have to have sex. She goes, and I'm still a virgin. She said that to me.
Okay. And now, when did she tell you that?
This happened when he was first with the Child Protective Services.
Okay, so back in 2006.
Correct. Uh-huh.
Okay. So she was still a virgin in 2006.
And this is when.
I'm sorry,
this is when
ma'am.
she told me.
Ma'am, you have to answer yes or no.
Yes.
Was she told you she was still a virgin in two?
Yes, she told me she was still a virgin.
Thank you. And is it fair to say that everything you've learned since about these allegations has been told to you by the defendant and your sister, Santa Sanchez?
Yes, but I've also seen it. Yes, but also the attorney.
So you're not, and I'm sorry, you said you learned from an attorney. Which attorney is that?
Richard's attorney. Well, when we watched the video, I saw it. Which
video are you referring to?
The one on 2019 where she alleged Richard.
Okay. Now, so it's also fair to say that you were not around and you have no personal knowledge about the allegations against Mr. Thomas.
Not well. If she's been with me, she's never ever confessed to me that ever happened.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense?
When was the last time that you had Nina over your house?
I had Nina, but gee, I'm trying to remember the last day. Actually, the day that she, when she says on the video, that she tried to escape from Richard, that very day, she, me and her mom had met halfway, and she had said that Richard was there.
Objection, hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Well, no.
When was the last time, sorry, ma'am, when was the last time that Nina was over your house?
Since the day, actually, no, it's going to take that back. The day that before she ran away.
Do you remember the year?
The year, it's been so long. Oh my goodness. Not exactly familiar with but it was the day before she ran away. I remember that.
And when she ran away, did she confess to anything that Richard has done to her?
Objection,
No.
hearsay.
When
Calls for hearsay.
Excuse me. Be a question asked. Then once that question is asked, silence from the questioner. Then if there's an objection, the court will hear it and make a ruling on it. Objection is overruled. That's a yes or no question.
What was the question? That if
Nina, did she confess to you that my client has done anything sexually?
no, never.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing based on that, Your Honor.
All right. Is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Excuse from the state.
Excuse from the defense.
All right. The rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any more witnesses?
All this time, the defense calls Richard Thomas.
All right, just one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we can stop here and you all can come back in the morning and then the defense will have a chance to call his witness or either we can continue.
Who wants to continue?
Yes. All right, we're gonna take a recess. Remember the court's instructions. Thank you. And then when you all come back, I will have received from both sides how long they expect this to be so that you can make your decision based upon how long they're expecting the next witness to take. All right, everyone, please rise.